Every team goes through a little bit of adversity. 49ers have theirs. That's all. That's all. 5-3. There's only 4 teams better than us in the NFC right now. We just got to take the bye week, recollect, go hammer Jacksonville. Everything's fine. What's up, Goo?
I'll tell you what's up.
All right.
I don't know what's up. Like, the Niners are not – we talked about it all season long, Steiny, when they were 5-0 and they were getting to 5-0. It was Operation Home Field Advantage. It was the Eagles, Dallas, and the Niners. And since the Dallas game, the Niners have turned into slippers. But get this, they're not even in first place in their division. So you talk about a fall from grace. Steiny, I don't know. They got handled yesterday. Cincinnati came in here and gave them the business. And it's not just the defense now. It's everything. And you said it. And I'm going to throw it back to you. Goo, I want to see Brock without the weaponry. Well, he didn't have Debo and he didn't have Trent. And when you said that, I was like, you know what? He is a weapon. But Steiny, something's going on, and he's turned into a turnover machine. And now I'm wondering aloud, how many more games like yesterday does Brock Purdy have before you think of a Sam Darnold? I don't know if you're there or not, but yesterday was bad. Then he hit the turf after he got saved from a bad interception over the middle with a low hit. And then he comes back and they strip him of the ball. It was all bad all across the board. Greenlaw out there on one leg. Mixon just hit. Mixon was delivering blows. Steiny, I have no answers, but I am shocked, boy. I have not been this shocked, I'm telling you, and this might not be fair, since the Giants were on their way to 107. Remember, I didn't expect that. But I had this team on they were it. They were the standard. So I don't know what's going on. Kyle, you got to get your ship right, man. Because right now, it's all hell has broken loose.
Yeah. Brock Purdy he turned the ball over 3 times in the last 15 minutes and 5 seconds of that game. The biggest mistake was the one at 17-10.
Oh,
because that ball had to be handed off, and then once it wasn't handed off, you couldn't throw it because they were going to get a penalty.
Yep.
He ended up throwing it, and it gets picked off, and now you give up the ball when you have an easy 3 at the very least to make it 17-13 at the start of the fourth quarter. So that was a big mistake, obviously, for the 49ers. It also seemed to be the one that Kyle got most upset about after the game. So we'll see. They have a bye now, so there's not much you can do. But obviously Purdy has not been as good as he's been the first 10 games, the last 2 or 3.
Where are you at? You concerned?
They all aren't playing well right now. Like, look, they've played 8 games this year, and now it's obvious that Bosa's not. He's not doing what he did last year, obviously.
And Steiny, it ain't all double teams. He ain't beating his man one-on-one. He ain't setting the edge, nothing.
Yeah.
Teams are running. I don't have any answers. We need the people today.
Yeah, 888-957-9570 is the number. I mean, Brock Purdy didn't play a good fourth quarter. That's obvious. But Joe Burrow goes 28 of 32.
19 straight completions.
That's ridiculous.
At one point.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, 28 of 32? You're not going to win that game. You're just not.
He died. We thought Kirk Cousins, and hopefully Steiny, I know you heard about he tore his Achilles. That's sad. But he took what Kirk did on Monday night to this Niner defense. He took it up a couple notches. When you complete in an NFL game 19 straight passes, you're in your zone. And Steiny, the Niners got the benefit before the first half of a stupid play call where it was a turnover when they should have just turned around and handed it to Nixon, who was gashing. And I thought, you know what? Here come the Niners. And you're right, they can't get a stop. They can't run the ball. All of a sudden, teams are loading the box with 5 defensive linemen to tell McCaffrey and company, you ain't coming through here. And again, Brock Purdy led the Niners in rushing. What's that about? That's letting you know. And I know it was no Trent Williams, but damn, Steiny, I am stunned. I don't know how good this team is. I just don't.
Well, when they don't have Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy doesn't seem like he's as good. I think we can acknowledge that.
But he won a game without Deebo this year.
Right, and he lost 3 essentially.
You are correct.
I mean, Deebo didn't play against Cleveland for the most part. He was in the game early, but didn't do much. So,
wow, man, this
no
is
Deebo Samuel
shocking.
hurts. 4 teams in the NFC now with a better record than the Niners,
and one in their division.
Yeah,
Seattle is in first place.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
Mm-hmm. You know, we've got to remember that the NFL season is it's not a 5-game season. They play 17. 17 games.
You are correct, but nobody saw this happening. Not at 5-0. I threw out 17-0.
We know.
And you didn't get mad that day.
I don't get mad anymore. I just accept you, and you accept me, and we move on with a smile. But clearly, something's going on with the Niners.
Who do you blame? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I think the biggest concern is Brock Purdy. It was the defense, but this offense, we talked about it was loaded. I talked about it being your new defense, and the defense could have slippage. Those words came out of my mouth because it was Purdy for 30. 30 Purdy, hashtag. Steiny, they haven't even sniffed 30. And all of a sudden now, you talk about nobody's playing well. You're right, but he's the one that has the ball in his hands every snap. And he's turning it over all of a sudden when that was his biggest attribute, protecting the rock.
I don't know. I think their overall defense is actually more of an issue because that defense doesn't look daunting at all.
I don't know why.
And I get it.
Hargrave.
I get it. Burrow's good, real good, and he looks like he's healthy now. But I'll say it again. 28 for 32? I mean, that's preposterous.
19 straight.
If you think your defense is any good, that's unheard of. It's totally unheard of. 28 for 32. So is that on the defensive line? Is that on the defensive backs? Who's that on? Who's that on?
Defensive coordinator. But
yeah,
I'll tell you what, the William Shatner. Help me out, Evan. What's our guy's name?
Joe Burrow.
No, who played Captain Kirk? William Shatner.
Okay. Where was that? Leonard Nimoy.
No, he was Spock. Who was Captain Kirk?
I never watched that.
William Shatner.
Yeah.
I never watched that show.
Okay. Anyway, maybe it's Kyle. You could, instead of criticizing guys aloud, I mean, this is your team. You go in there and tell Wilkes what you're saying. I don't know, but this is how bad it's gotten. Steiny, it's rotten right now. 3 in a row. You just said it. You got Warner, Bosa, Hargrave, and they got an Isaiah Oliver. I hate, if you're listening to Isaiah, Steiny, he can't cover a blanket. I mean, man, he's, boy, Steiny.
I mean, a blanket is stationary, so it works, technically.
But he can't cover. They could do nothing yesterday. That game shouldn't have even been as close. How about that? What do you give me for that? You give me $1 for that?
It had a chance to go be worse than it was, but like it could have been worse. But by the same token, if you watch the game, you know it could have been worse. I mean, what if the Bengals don't turn it over at the end of the first half?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. How do you fix it?
I think you got to get back to basic football.
Okay, what if this is the real, I'm putting it right on the table early by Atco. What if this is who Brock Purdy is? Then you really got a problem.
Well,
or we're going to see Sam Darnold, because Kyle ain't going to keep up with this, Steiny. I know it's 3 games, and I'll put him in the Hall of Fame. Arrest me. I said that. But, boy, I didn't see him coming back to earth like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got a donation on the First NorCal Credit Union YouTube chat. Zeus Cronus Steiny had $5 he donated. Steiny having a hell of a year.
Yeah.
I hit 1,200 on Bengals. What does that mean?
Well, I had the Bengals covering too.
Okay.
And I want you. Who's that?
Zeus Cronus.
Zeus. Don't be afraid to send some of that my way.
Oh, boy.
If you know what I mean.
Steiny, well, I'm blown away, man.
I mean, if you want to, Purdy was really good for 3 quarters. Now, that may not matter to 49er fans, but the reality is he was good for 3 quarters. He threw for what, 365?
Yeah, but a lot of that was at the end when they had to pass, and that's another theme. It seems like when they have to pass, that's when they pass. They have success passing. It's before then. What happened to us just going down the field, sending a message, telling you who we are, and what about the 4th and 1 to use check? And McCaffrey was sitting right there. Like, why wouldn't he get that ball?
I thought Juszczyk is a bowling ball. We like Juszczyk. We can't use him. He doesn't get the ball more than twice a game. Now we can't even give him the ball twice a game. Poor guy. He's got to block the whole time. 888-957-9570 is the number. And the 49ers, they get beat again, this time pretty handily by the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 5-3. They have a bye, and then they play the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they didn't look great, but they did handle the worst team in the league.
It was a tough game, and the Steelers were 4-2.
Now they're 4-3.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Same as the Bengals.
Yeah, who's playing better football? Who's playing better football?
The team with their quarterback.
Thank you. Hey, you got to stay healthy in this league.
Just ask Minnesota.
Just ask the Niners.
What a shame.
Kirk was balling. Had 2 touchdowns.
Shame.
Too.
Hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
You know, we usually use that phrase as kind of a funny thing.
Yeah.
It's not funny when a guy's torn his ACL.
No, we really hate to see it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
I'm defending Evan. He wasn't laughing.
It's a sarcastic comment and should be used as such.
Please.
Bottom line.
By the way, he tore his Achilles, not his ACL.
It's a difference. He's done.
I thought you said he could come back by week 18.
Well, we're expecting the worst. We're expecting the worst.
I'll tell you what, real quick, tomorrow's the trading deadline. Niners, what do they need? They could use some secondary help.
Well, they can't trade for Kirk now.
Man, or a defensive coordinator. How do you
Unless you're already thinking ahead to next year.
How do you inherit this unit that got Robert Saleh and DeMeco Ryans a job? They slap in Hargrave, who's a beast, and you can get no pressure on the quarterback.
I mean, this is the part that I think
Armstead had 2 sacks.
What kind of years Javon Hargrave having? Because about 3 weeks ago, he was the steal of free agency. And he was the biggest bargain we've had. He has a wrecking shop.
Well, you know he can play.
Wrecking shop.
You know he can play.
He hasn't wrecked shop.
They haven't.
Well, maybe they're not as good as we think they are.
Fred Warner, Greenlaw, they look regular. Everybody looked regular yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? They're at home. To hell with that 2-game losing streak. I mean, they're in the red. And, boy, they got handled. They got dominated, Matt.
7:07, Purdy was the 49ers' best running back yesterday. Purdy's not the problem. I don't think he's the biggest problem.
He threw 2 picks and then fumbled. He threw 1 at the 10-yard line and didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
That's a problem in my JD voice.
Well, what are you going to do? You want Sam Darnold to start against Jacksonville?
No, I'm not there yet, but I am asking the question, what do you think Kyle's going to do? Like, how many more of these does Purdy have at his disposal?
I mean, listen.
6 interceptions and 5 touchdown passes in the last 3 games. Or 3 or 5. Jesus.
Yeah. Might not be 6. He had 1 interception, 2. I think he's had 5 in the last 3 games.
Yeah. And, 6 turnovers, the fumble.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I look at it. I look at a game like yesterday, and I'm thinking, once you get down, and this is what I heard against Minnesota. So the last pick against Minnesota, is that a killer? Is it? You got to try to make something happen. You're down. Like, that's what happens. You get down more than 1 score, and that's when quarterbacks tend to make mistakes. Why? Because they're trying to make too much happen.
But when you miss a handoff and you're at the 10-yard line to tie the game, they were down 17-10. I don't know why you missed a handoff. Okay, things happen. And then, Steiny, you throw a pick to the linebacker. I mean, that's a killer.
Yeah.
And they still almost tried to get back in the game.
Well, I don't – I mean, that's the one thing where I don't think they were in that game.
His turnovers are happening in the second half, money time. It's all money time, but this theme, Steiny, is in the second half, and those are killers.
I guess what I want to know is this a theme after 3 games? Is that a theme when a guy's played 12 good ones? Or is it just a little rut he's in? 415, Joe Montana threw 3 picks in the catch game. Is Purdy Montana? No. No one is. But most of yesterday, he was excellent.
Well, I thought you can't have 3 turnovers and be excellent, but his legs, he was using them.
You could look at it. Listen, Purdy gave him no chance in the fourth quarter, but they were going to have. By the way, Kyle Shanahan now 0-20. Went down by 6.
I didn't have that one. Appreciate you.
Right? They were down 6 in the fourth quarter. They were down more than 5, right?
I think the stat is entering the fourth quarter.
And they were down 17-10 in the fourth?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's chalk up another loss for Kyle when they get down.
Kittle had 149 yards on 9 catches. Ayuk, a $109 with 5 catches. Steiny, you could make the case. Yeah, the defense didn't even come close to stopping Cincinnati, but it was there for a second. The 3 turnovers were killer. Especially one in the red.
Well, and the drop by your number one.
The one that hit him in the head.
Right in the face.
The sun got in his eyes.
Okay. Well, then it's okay. It's okay then. He can drop that.
6 for 57.
I'm glad I didn't say it. And I noticed when Shasky said it, you were a little subdued. When he said Ayuk, he's not a number 1. That other team's got a number 1.
We got more than that.
Shasky said that, Evan. Just because
I think Ayuk has like the most separation of any receiver in football.
Well, I'm just saying.
You've never been high on him.
He's fine. Yeah. He's 1.5.
He had 110 yards yesterday.
Yeah, big drop.
21.
As long as if we're going to do it with Purdy, we got to do it with everybody.
Yeah, because that drop really cost them the game.
Well,
not the 3 turnovers.
They were down when all 3 of those turnovers occurred. Like they were already getting beat bad.
No, they weren't. It was 17-10, and they were at the 10-yard line about to tie the game.
Yeah, and he made a mistake.
And your boy said, "Open up the oven. Here comes the turnover."
Yeah.
Boy, I'm worried about him, Steiny. I am now.
Well, you know what?
They got a week off.
I don't care.
I don't care if you don't care.
Because I'm sick of 5.
Brock Purdy,
No,
you were the one saying,
that's right.
I want to see him without his weapons, and now you're coming in here caping up for him. Man
that's
up.
Right.
Call a spade, damn it.
I'll say, you said after 5 games he was Joe Montana, and I'm like, can we wait a little bit?
I said he was headed in that direction.
Well, he wasn't.
Well, he was playing stellar. He wasn't turning the ball
good football.
over.
But, again, every team's got to go through some adversity. This is it. I'm not saying Brock Purdy was great yesterday. He had 3 turnovers in the last 15 minutes of the game. You name me a player who played well yesterday. Who played well?
Kittle and Ayuk.
Ayuk didn't play well.
5 for 109.
The numbers are he's going to drop a ball. Well, Purdy's going to throw some picks.
All right. A couple.
Yeah, what's the difference?
And a fumble.
Okay. The fumble didn't mean anything. Yeah. The game was over when the fumble occurred. And again, he's trying to make a play down 2 touchdowns. That one doesn't bother me at all.
Well, the defense is man, Steiny. I don't recognize
again. Why wouldn't we look at this team? And I'm not saying, he's fair game. He's played 16 games in his career, so he's basically played a full season. Why can't we talk about Bosa, who just got paid? Why can't we talk about Armstead, who's paid? Hargrave, who's been paid? Where are those guys? Yeah. To me, those guys should get pointed out more quickly than Brock Purdy, because they're the veterans on the team that you built your team around. You have not built your team around Purdy. He just happened to be the quarterback.